Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to this exclusive webinar on how to be a fashion designer, which is being brought to you by the Edugraph, the education vertical of the Telegraph Online. At Edugraph, our mission is to guide students transitioning from campus to career. This webinar is the first in a series of webinars which will have students to gain valuable insights on various career paths. Today's session has been specially curated to share knowledge and insight about fashion design as a career. We are honored to introduce to you our special guest for today, an alumnus of Kolkata and Jadavpur universities. Dr. Sumantra Bakshi is an experienced associate professor at NIFT with a PhD in engineering, and he is working in the fields of higher education and textile design. His research interests are in textiles design, technology, sustainable process, and product development. Dr. Bakshi, a very warm welcome to you and thank you for taking the time out from your busy schedule to join us today. Handing over this session to you now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Shweta, for a nice introduction, and I am thankful to the Telegraph group for organizing such a important seminar on the web platform. It gives me a very good feeling, and it's quite heartening to see that so many of you enthusiastic students have participated on probably a holiday to understand how you can go ahead in your chosen or your dreamed path of fashion designing. So Shweta, just for checking, am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So it's been a long wait for quite a lot of you, as I can understand. So I would straight away start, and I would like to tell you all that though the topic of the day is how to be a fashion designer, but you can understand it's not that a small field. It's quite a vast field which cannot be known, like how to become a fashion designer within such a small ambit. So I have been given a very beautiful yet a specific brief by our team in the Telegraph, and accordingly we have planned. In the beginning, I would like to share with you the understanding of fashion design, where to my understanding, there are an amount of misnomers, there are an amount of myth, and really there are an amount of deep understanding are also there. So it's a mixed bag. So when I'm trying to tell anything about this particular field, it's better to have a clarity that what is the context and what exactly is fashion designing today and what comes under, or what are the things that comes under this large umbrella called fashion design, which is not necessarily at this moment a single entity. So I will be sharing my screen just to help me out with the topics that I have planned to share with you. So here I share my screen. Shweta, please check if I am visible. My screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am. Have you shared the screen already, Dr. Bakshi?
Yeah, already, yes.
No, we cannot see that. Yes, now we can. Now we can. Thank you.
Just a moment, Shweta. Is it moving?
Yes, sir. It is
I'm
moving.
I'm moving it. So is it moving?
Yes. Yes, yes. We can see you changing the slides.
Great, great, great. So students, probably you are already having an inclination, a dream, a thought process, a liking for this particular way of life. I love to call it, that is fashion designing or designing as a profession. Uh, so let us try to understand in the very beginning that what happens there. What are the areas of design that are specifically at this moment are coming under this large umbrella I have mentioned earlier as called fashion designing, because there are a lot of other avenues of design. That design is a very vast field and a very vast subject at this moment. So in fashion designing, to start with, it is concentrated on product designing. What kind of products? First of all, it comes to our mind is apparel products, woven apparel products, like as the visuals are very clear to you, like ethnic wear, formal wear, and casual wear, as they are in front of you. Then comes a different category of apparel like knitwears, which are the choice of the Generation Z and the generations to come, and very rightly so. Even all the generations would be bound to go for this particular kind of apparel in the coming days. A very strong field of fashion and fashion design also, which is knitwears, comprising athleisure, sportswear, intimate apparel, winter wears, etc. You can see visuals which are, I think, speaking for themselves. Then there are other products other than apparels which are surprisingly, yes, they are within the field of fashion designers' inputs. And fashion designers are working day and night, and there are fantastic creative minds of designers behind these beautiful products that you use in your daily and your fashion life, and to make you look fashionable. Necessarily, they are called accessories. There are different types of accessories like shoes, belts, leather goods, bags, quintessentially jewelry, watches, spectacles, and it's a long list. I mean, it cannot be completed so easily. So I hope you understand what are accessory designs. Another category of products come under the designing ambit of creative people of fashion designing. Then comes space designing. It's a larger area, and it is quite surprisingly, yes, a lot of people don't understand that this is also nowadays a larger extended area of fashion designing, where a lot of fashion designers and are giving their inputs to create beautiful spaces, interiors, exteriors, spaces like luxury spaces like cruise ships, shopping malls, offices, of course, home and interior or living spaces, and not even that, even mobility, like inside aircrafts, ships, as I was saying. So all these are coming under the ambit of fashion design products, but it is in a large way, it is nowadays being mentioned as space design. Then, of course, look. Look is what is communicating the fashion quotient of a particular person. It's a total composition. It's not only the apparel or the accessory, it's in totality. Creating that look is also an area of input for fashion designers, where styling, costume designing for movies, for other events are there. Some of the visuals I'm sharing with you, which are even giving you a fantastic examples of how fashion designers give their inputs in stylings, costume designings, and in event designings. Those were the tangible, you can say, contributions towards products and kind of product-enabled services. Fashion designers also do nowadays have got a huge responsibility of giving their inputs in communication design. Fashion is not only the way it is, but the fashion is the way it is presented. It's a very important part of fashion is its presentation. And one of the most important part is visual merchandising. As you can see, the different kinds of visual displays, spaces, the way fashion is put forward, fashion is kept in front from the onlookers, the way it is presented. It's also an area of responsibility of fashion designers. Uh, and you all nowadays know that graphic designs are designings with graphics. They were earlier an ambit of only hand and manual sketches and drawings and illustrations, but with the advent of information technology, a huge revolution and democratization has happened in this creative area. A lot of people are giving these inputs to right from communicating design, communicating products, communicating different events, communicating different messages. Everywhere there needs to have some innovative ideas to draw attentions of people, draw attentions toward the right way, and that's where fashion communication does a lot of work. Yes, fashion photography is a big weapon in this communication design, no doubt. So these are few areas where nowadays fashion designers are working that I have said. Now, when you go to fashion designing, when you start studying fashion designing, it might be a question, and I've seen few questions where a few of you are quite eager to understand that what are the areas of inputs that will be given over there, in fact, anticipating your abilities and disabilities in those areas. You have actually given some questions also, which I have seen. So I hope this particular topic that I'm starting now will help you out get a clarity. So earlier I have told you that what are the areas of inputs where designers are giving their inputs in today's world. Uh, I would say if I have justice to do that, I don't know, but I hope you have understood that. Going ahead, what do you learn when you want to become a designer? You have to learn a lot of things. You have to start to learn a lot of things. That's why it's a field of pertaining education nowadays. So starting with that, we all start with basically the understanding of design and design thinking, design process. In design process involves design thinking. Design thinking is basically a way of organized thought processes. Thinking is a natural ability that normally comes to us with our birth. But there has to be an amount of organization and improvisation and composition in our thought processes. You learn more about it. This is not the right venue to explain more about it, but a lot of your learning will be roaming around this learning of yours in design process, namely design thinking, critical thinking, creative thinking. Creative thinking will take care of the innovation side, the proactive side of innovation, and critical thinking will give you a problem solving attitude, because ultimately fashion has got a big stakeholder, that is the consumer or the customer or the client. And critical thinking helps in understanding their needs and understandings and their problems and giving solutions. Coming next, a lot of you would have to be learned about material understandings. A huge amount of your inputs of your learning process will be to understand the material with which you give shape to your dream, with which you give shape to the other people's dreams. You take care of their needs. So what are those materials? Unless and until one is quite proficient about using those materials, it's not, the learning is not complete. So fashion designers get to learn a lot of materials inside out, like textile fibers, yarns, fabrics, leather and non-leather materials, metals, wood, polymers, plastics. It depends where you are actually giving your inputs. If you are into textiles, you'll be doing textiles, yarns, fabrics. If you're into leathers, they will do leathers, non-leathers. If you're into jewelries and accessories, you'll work with woods, metals, polymers, plastics, and a lot of other materials that are nowadays being used in different kinds of fashion accessories and products. Next, very important area of input where a fashion designer has to learn as you can say, a life skill for a fashion designer, it's representation technique. Design is a thought process, no doubt about that, but communicating it to the others is the key. And understanding others' need is also an important aspect. So representation techniques are taught with the great care in fashion design courses, like illustrations. Now illustrations are being done in both manual and in IT-enabled illustrations, as you can see in visuals. Not only two-dimensional representation techniques, but the ambit is much faster. Even three-dimensional representing techniques. You want to represent your ideas, so you make a form, a model, a sculpture. As you can see, our students working in a 3D material manipulation lab, where they are trying to express themselves through some three-dimensional form, not only by drawing something or not only by sketching something. So this is a huge amount, a very important area of learning. Next comes another important area of representation, that is styling and look designing, and of course, fashion photography. Then comes the most potential part, and a lot of questions I have received about your skills, which you have, which you don't have, and you're quite skeptic with the skills if you'll be able to join or not. But let me tell you, all these skills will be given to you, necessary skills will be given to you when you join a good quality fashion design course in anywhere in the world and in India in a good design school. Practical skills like embroidery, like printing, like weaving a fabric, like knitting a fabric, as you can see students doing here, are quite, I hope, clear to all of you. These are certain skills you'll be practicing and acquiring while you are doing your fashion design course. Another practical skills are garment making, garment construction, draping, stitching, pattern cutting, as the visuals are telling you. Not only that, today fashion design has got a social connect. It's the society for which you're working and you're taking from it. So it's an empathetic connection is there now, and it is being nourished and is built up with much stronger values nowadays, and that is called the craft clusters. The rural craft clusters and artisans, the treasure house of arts and designs and products, especially in our country. So almost all good design schools have got a very vast uh, amount of exposure of their students planned in their curriculum in the craft clusters. And of course, industrial exposure. In different industrial exposure through internships, projects, in-house projects, industry projects, classroom projects, industry visits, with fair visits, with all these things. If you are in a fashion design course, you will get to have a very strong industry connect. And all culminates in your graduation event, where you present your 4 years or 3 years or 2 years of learning as your creativity. So this is what is a very sketchy outline of the kind of inputs or the kind of learnings you get during your fashion design courses. The next topic I'm going to discuss with you, which is one of the most keenly asked questions that I could see, and I'm told by the team of Edugraph to address also, are the probable career paths. Well, to talk about career paths, there are two areas. One is the core area where the students, after getting a graduation or post-graduation in fashion design courses, in different design courses related to fashion design, say it is apparel design, knitwear design, textile design, accessory and jewelry design, fashion communication design, and etc. Where they go ultimately? What does they do? First and foremost are staff designers. What I mean by staff designers are creative design students, learned designers, trainee designers who work as an employees of organizations. What kind of organizations? What kind of companies? What kind of employers? I'll come to. So they are employee designers who work under a professional setup, not necessarily all the time of their own. Okay, so this is one of the largest area of career path for designers as professional designers for different product manufacturing companies and product exporting companies and brands and retails. We'll come to that. Merchandiser, what does that mean? Merchandiser means it's basically a marching area between technologists and designers. So it's a bridge. It's a bridge between technology, commerce, and design. On one side is the idea, and another side is the execution, and on the other side is the commerce of the product. So you can say merchandisers are the bridge between the commercial side, the execution or manufacturing side, and the planning and designing side of the product. So in these roles also, the most preferable people of most preferable educational background is still fashion design. Next come entrepreneurship. Yes, you all know, you all have design icons by now who have made their names in India, in the globe, and they are like the ultimate in their own fields. Things go by their name, but anything else. So entrepreneurship is definitely a very big, glorious path of career for designers. Independent and freelance designers are the starting points by which they start working with different projects on their own, taking up projects, taking up their jobs time to time, and then in a way they set up their own establishments, their own labels, their own companies, and sky's the limit. Ultimately, they became landowners, label owners, and brand owners of themselves. You know the journey of Sabyasachi Mukherjee in India. You know the journey of different big fashion brand owners and different brand design houses who would start with a single designer. Now it's an establishment. All the names like Coco Chanel, Alexander McQueen, and the House of Prada and Gucci and all, it all started with one particular person. But ultimately, it has grown into an establishment. Now, plethora of designers and professionals are working for it. So, entrepreneurship is definitely an option. Design consultants. Design consultants are those career paths where you work as an interface between the product, between the seller, between the brand owners, and the customer or the consumer. So as retail design consultants, it's becoming a very important career, especially with the organization and consolidation of retail industry in a very different way. Nowadays, you can, one of the your popular way of calling your design consultants as your influencers. You know, in today's world, how in e-fashion, in the virtual world of fashion, how important are they and their impact. It's not only about the influencers, but they are working in a different role, even in brick and mortar retail stores and retail businesses also. So you can say they are the bridge between the products and the consumer. Fashion stylist. It's a classical and a very important way where fashion designers give their creative inputs in the industry. Starting from designing for products, starting from creating looks for shows, models, events, media, and a lot of things. So creating look and styling is one of the biggest way of expressing the creative understanding of fashion designers still today, a mainstay, fashion styling. Costume and look designers is almost same. With the advent of media and with the proliferation of web-based entertainment, it's, you can say, a third world of another big world of entertainment scope has opened up all of a sudden, other than the television media and the film and the films. Altogether, it's a very widening horizon for costume and look designers, where fashion designers are giving their inputs. Professional designers are getting avenues in a larger and larger extent, and their contributions are getting recognized nowadays, which was not the case even a few decades back. They used to remain in the background, but now they are considered to be an important input giver in these creative fields of media and entertainment. Even visual merchandising, I have said, is the area of expressing fashion, the area of presenting fashion in a physical mode. Visual representation with the consolidation of retail industry is becoming a very, very important field of import and a very important profession for career path for fashion designers in the coming days. And already it is a lot of fashion graduates from different fashion schools are actually pursuing fantastic career options in visual merchandising. Then comes research. A field of knowledge, a field of understanding cannot grow without research. Research brings out new knowledge. As any field of knowledge and understanding and academics, design too has its own research field. A vast amount of research is happening each and every day, not only for academic reasons, but for various professional reasons like fashion trends and forecasting, market research, product understanding, product designing, etc. So design research is in itself a very big area for a lot of fashion design students, both after undergraduation and mostly after post-graduations. And it's a very vast and growing field. And this may lead you to join the career of academics like I am there in front of you. But that's a very minuscule part of it. Design research is a very vast field. It's not that you have to become a teacher if you do a research. Don't please misunderstand me. As I have said, it's not only about academic reason. It is creating knowledge for business, creating knowledge for society, creating knowledge for human being. So in media, in trends forecasting, in business, in market research, everywhere design research is important. Every new innovation you are seeing nowadays is a result of fantastic, fascinating activities of research, which sometimes does not come in the forefront. So design research, my dear students, is going to be a fantastic career path for you in the coming days. And of course, a very, very well prized and well gifted and well remunerated path also is going to be in the coming days. Please remember. Now, which are the core sector employers? The core sector employers are manufacturing companies like Vardhaman Textiles, Welspun Group, Bargain Mills, different fashion brands like Ralph Lauren, Hilfiger, Max, Allen Solly. E-retailers are very important employers in core sectors, and of course, export houses. Now there are new career paths are coming up nowadays, diversified career paths, which are beyond these classical career paths, which I have said. Like a lot of designers are now graduating into designing other products And their inputs are being valued also, like in automobile design, packaging design, interior design, in communication design. Like a lot of fashion design students are nowadays finding fantastic career opportunities in user experience and user interface designings. I hope you understand what does it mean. All these user interfaces in your laptop, in your palm top, in your tablet, in your phone, that interaction that you do, that fantastic interaction, easy interaction that you're getting to do, and it is enabling your all type of cognitive abilities are finding it easy to interact. And these are all results of a very methodical designing activity called UI UX designing activity, where a lot of fashion design students are finding avenues of their career. Advertising and promotion design, publication design are areas where a lot of designers are finding their scopes for creative inputs. Media has been diverse and been an alternative career path for all the ways for fashion design professionals, like fashion journalism and fashion photography. So this was the career path that I could conjure up, the conventional and the newly emerging ones. Now I'd like to, in the last few minutes, I'd like to tell you about what you should work on. A lot of people wanted to know that why should I prepare? It's a very basic preparation. You have to you have to be attentive to your learning processes, which are fantastic in your schools and your respective colleges. Try to remember whatever they are trying to teach you has got a purpose. And some of the purposes will fulfill your purpose to become a fashion designer. Don't worry about that. You don't have to do something out of the world. Just for example, you have to be attentive to your basic drawing and rendering techniques so that you can express yourself with drawing. Yes, you have to. If you really want to crack into a good fashion design institute, it will be checked. So you should start practicing that. You should start practicing your observation of your environment. It's very important. Whatever you are seeing, you see in terms of different forms, different lines, the colors, the textures, and the way things are organized. The way things are organized in order or in disorder. Try to have an eye for these things. Whenever you are traveling, whenever you are seeing a small thing or a building or a product or a landscape or a river or a tree, so whether it is man-made or it is nature, try to observe it closely and try to find different aspects like color, like form, like texture, etc. Practice it. Of course, research aptitude will be very much necessary. You will have to have a regard for seeking new understanding. You have to have a strength to give hard work, to study and find out the state of the art, where things are, and from there where it will go. You know, fashion design is about innovating new things each and every time at the drop of the hat. We all understand that. It's very true. But how can you do something new unless and until you know what is there already? And for that, you have to have a research aptitude. You have to work on your general awarenesses, which your basic education is giving you, and a real understanding of your cultural and social history, language, basic geometrical understanding is important, very basic numerical skills. You don't have to be a mathematical geek. No, not necessary. Basic computer skills, basic reasoning skills. Just very basic, which will be already coming to you through your proper school education. You don't have to do much extra for this. A creative aptitude is important, where an amount of practice would be requiring before you prepare for your entrance test, like manipulating different kind of materials. That should have a knack in you. You should like to manipulate paper, cloth, clay, wood, plaster of Paris, small metalwares, which you can manipulate without creating much hazard for you and your home and your siblings. So you have to have things. Some of you can work on reusing different kinds of repurposing things, repurposing used things, waste materials, of course, not the hazardous ones. So these are few practices you can keep on doing, which may help you out in going into the cases. So what are the courses that are available for you at this moment where you can get into? At the undergraduate level, there are courses in Bachelor of Design from National Institute of Fashion Technology. There are courses like fashion design, knitwear design, textile design, fashion lifestyle accessories design, leather design, fashion communication. There are various fashion design related courses other than product and service design related courses in National Institute of Design. I hope you all know. So these are the two institutes managed by Government of India who are giving direct inputs into fashion design. You must be wondering that I'm not taking the name of Indian Institute of Technologies and their design schools at this particular level. Well, in the undergraduate level, the kind of design courses they're offering are not exactly the core areas of fashion design. That's why I'm not taking their names. Definitely, I'll talk about it later. Paul Academy is a very important institute, university. There are different schools are there, university design schools are there, like the Amity University, Vishwabharati University, MS University, Baroda. And if you now, information is democratic, information is free-flowing, you can always find out. There are more such courses. So undergraduate courses is an entry level. Some people wanted to know that whether I'll be able to do another graduation course if I'm already done a graduation or within a graduation. See, if it is your dream, if you really feel about it, and if you really know that you will take the rigor to go ahead with your dream in fashion designing, if you have the conviction, rule will not stop you. If you are doing a graduation or if you are completed a graduation, if you still wanted to understand fashion from the very sketchy stage, you want to start at the bachelor level again, you can. Rules will not stop you. It's your decision. Otherwise, the basic level of entry point at this moment in India in any Bachelor of Design undergraduate course is a 10+2 appearing, which you have to pass before you start your course. Just like any other engineering or medical course or any other degree course or undergraduate course in our country. Now, some of the courses are 4-year courses, some of the courses are 3-year courses also at this moment that you need to find out from institute to institute. Higher education path, obviously the post-graduation path is there. National Institute of Fashion Technology is offering masters in design space, in communication design. And of course, there is research facilities specifically in design, which NIFT have in PhD research. Not only that, you can have higher education and post-graduation in National Institute of Design. There are courses in apparel design, textile design, accessories design. There are courses near to fashion design courses in postgraduate level in Indian Institute of Technologies design schools in Guwahati and Kanpur and Delhi also, which you can find out. They are product designing, service and utility designing, communication designing, and of course, you can do a PhD research and design research in IITs. If you talk about foreign universities, there are many. It's not the right forum, and we don't have the time to go ahead. But to name a few, like FIT in New York, LCF in London, Bunka Fashion College in Japan, IF in Paris, to name a few, where we find a lot of Indian students after their undergraduations head for higher education and post-graduation. You can, of course, go there for undergraduate studies also, but we have seen the crowd is more for higher education. Admission is pretty easy. At this moment, number of seats available for fashion designing at this moment in our country are quite at large. Of course, quality and your choicest schools of designs have got very limited seats, no doubt about that. For that, definitely you have to prepare for the entrance test. Mostly, the format is same everywhere. Every institute have their unified tests, like NIFT has its All India test, NID has its All India test, IIT has its USEED and SEED test. So they are mostly testing your general awareness, basic logical and numerical reasonings, basic proficiency in language. I'm using basics means you don't have to give much extra input to learn these things. Whatever you acquire during your school education will be enough, actually. Creative ability test is something where you have to have an amount of practice, definitely, where actually you will cut the niche and become ahead in the competition. Like drawing and sketching skills, impromptu model making skills. Again, it depends upon the kind of tests being taken in different educational institutions, but more or less it is the same. So I hope I could do justice to this topic that has been given to me by Edugraph to address to this very august and very enthusiastic, as I can see, a group of students. I hope students could at least get an idea. So, and I have probably addressed a few questions which have already been asked or which are already there. Now I would request Shweta to open the question answer sessions and to take the webinar ahead. Thank you. Thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Bakshi, for sharing such valuable insights with the audience today. So we have received a number of questions from our audience, which they had sent in while registering for this webinar. And I'll begin with, like most of them, sir, you have addressed in your session today. But there are some specific questions that I would like to discuss today. And so the first question is coming, two people have asked similar questions. One is Sandrit Hazra from South City International School and Rajeti Monica from Loyola College. Both of them have a similar question, which is, can a student lack in a field like pattern design, pattern making or sewing, or find it boring and still be a fashion designer?
Okay. Very, very, very interesting question, and a very, very nicely, I say, very candidly put forward. Yeah, my answer is yes, even if you can do, because you have seen that these are the few things that you, first of all, will be able to pick up, and you can give your chance to develop further interest into. It's not that you are coming with all these skills and you are necessarily come with all these skills when you come for fashion designing education. I have talked about what you require, and never ever I have said that these skills will be required when you are starting your fashion designing in a very quality fashion designing school or college. These are things that you will be learning, but before that you will be learning the importance of learning these things. That's one way of doing it. And even if you are not into pattern making and garment constructions, you have got the material welding lab. If you love welding metals, well, if you don't love that, you have got the 3D printing lab where you can work for jewelry designing also. And if you don't love anything, you have the Mac lab to work on your graphic design and become a communication designer. So avenues are there. These are not at all any bottlenecks. In fact, not even prerequisites for you to join the fashion design courses. What is the prerequisite? I've already said. A creative mind, an inquisitive mind, a mind which is ready to do research. That's all.
So, Dr. Bakshi, the next question is from Shagufta Shakil. She's studying at INIFT Kolkata. And her question to you is how to make a good portfolio, what should be there in a portfolio, and also how to get an internship. So she's actually asking three questions at the same time. So can you please throw some light on this?
Okay, Shweta, I have seen this question, and I think this is little outside of the purview of this particular webinar. It is beyond how to, it is what happens after kind of a question. But she is into already INIFD, so she's probably learning all these things. So I hope her teachers will be the best persons to tell them about the keys to make a good portfolio. Just to answer very quickly, I'll say that it's a way of communication. It's a way of presentation. So your communication, what you want to communicate, you should be very clear about it, and it should be very clearly communicated through your portfolio. And what you are trying to communicate should be well presented so that it attracts somebody else's attention as well. Otherwise, a lot of good things remain unnoticed. So it's not only about the content that you are trying to communicate, it's also the way you present your content. Just take care of these two things. And unnecessary clarity and clutter and unnecessary expansion by a lot of different other things into portfolio will ultimately divert the attention of someone who is actually looking at your portfolio. So it should be quite straightforward. Regarding internship, I think these are programs run by every college has got their training and placement departments. They will definitely help you out with your intended companies or the organizations where you get to work internships. And just a good news for you, maybe not a very good news for the industry, but yes, it has become a trend after this lockdown that a lot of companies are looking for interns even more in numbers at this moment because all of a sudden a lot of organizations are facing a reversal of their production into their production cycles, a certain inflation in your orders, a lot of pressures of delivery, and impromptu organization of trained manpower at times becomes difficult for a lot of organizations. So I don't think if you have got your training and placement departments are there, and if you just approach them, I think some way or other you will find some internship avenues. That will not be a difficult case for anybody.
Thank you, sir. And the next question is coming again to people, Pritika Banerjee from St. Xavier's College and Shomyadeep also from St. Xavier's College. Their question to you is, can I opt for a fashion designing degree after completing my bachelor's degree? So they're probably pursuing their bachelor's in a separate stream. Similarly, there's another question where somebody is pursuing engineering, and which is why they are wanting your opinion on what you feel about completing a certain degree and then taking up fashion designing again.
Shweta, I have already said in my last slides kind of thing. I'll repeat myself. First of all, I salute their conviction. Definitely, it shows that there is an amount of conviction. There's an uh, amount of more than dream. I'll say there is an amount of conviction in the intention. There's a real honesty in the intention that would only put some people into such kind of a journey where they have already done their undergraduate studies in various other fields and now they want to pursue fashion designing. That means they've been able to recognize that there is something there inside, which the passion is there, which will be probably driving them other than only doing something for the sake of a profession or for the sake of job and for the sake of career. If that is the case, no rule is going to stop. Rule wise, absolutely okay. The bare minimum requirement is 10+2, and of course there is a higher age limit. In between, anyone and everyone are welcome. So whether you're in engineering or in medicine or in humanities or in commerce, and after if your graduation you want to come in, we understand that you are quite a mature person. You've seen the world through your graduation, and now you know exactly where your heart lies and where you will be able to give your best. So if that is the case, nobody will stop you. You're there.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, the next question is coming from Sundar. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
I think there was a slight lag, I'm sorry. So the next question is quite interesting. How important is mathematics in the field of fashion design?
Oh, well, mathematics is very important in literature also. So how it cannot be important in fashion design? Mathematics is a way, but what you understand as mathematics is higher mathematics. Uh, so exactly, it's not an application, it's not an applied mathematics or applied technology field basically. So there are people to take care of the critical mathematical issues for you, but yes, you should have an understanding in mathematics. There is an area called geometry. So your geometrical understanding, basic geometrical understanding, to be precisely the Euclidean geometrical understanding of yours, has to have a clarity if you really want to become a fashion designer. That's very, very important. If you talk about a particular part of mathematics which is very important for you, that is, of course, the Euclidean part of Euclidean geometry part. Okay, the basic geometry, especially that we learn from 5th standard to 10th standard before we are introduced to the higher geometries of 3D geometry and the coordinate geometry and all. Not those. So this is one part. Other than that, rest of the mathematical issues and typical computation issues will be taken care of by computers and the engineers present in your field. You don't have to worry about that. But this basic understanding of geometry and numerical techniques, yes, they are always necessary.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So we have Vipasha Nair from Delhi Public School. She's studying in class 12. And she wants to ask you, can you please throw some light on fashion careers in India versus fashion careers abroad?
I'm not really the right person to do so because I have not seen inside out of the careers being made in fashion abroad. But yes, to some extent, I keep on from my industrial experience before I started as an academics. I've traveled. I'm well traveled, and I have been into fashion and textile industries elsewhere. I've seen professionals and their lives. It's more or less similar. Only thing that you need to understand is that we are living in the part of the world where we are more manufacturing intensive. So India, China, and now the new manufacturing superhouses like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia. Definitely, we are in fashion. We are more into manufacturing side of the business. The concept side of the business, the planning side of the business is pursued only in this European Union and that means Western European and North American countries like America, Canada, and the Western Europe, as you can understand. So that makes the direction of the careers path in fashion little different in the countries abroad and in our countries. And to say you the truth, the avenues of fashion profession are quantitatively less in the abroad countries like Japan, like Korea, like European Union, or like Americas, where now the fashion manufacturing is very limited. So the jobs were related to the manufacturing industries and the manufacturing setups are less. But yes, in the designing and the planning and in the retail sector, uh, communication design sector, definitely there are jobs in abroad also, and they are there in our country also. So this is what I could say at this moment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bakshi. The next question is from a student of class 8, and he's studying at Sarla Birla Public School. So he's already pretty clear about what he wants to do. His name is Krish Sahai, and his question to you is, which software is most preferable for fashion designing, and from where can I start learning it? Like probably he's wanting to find like what can be the best starting point.
Krish. Krish, thank you. Thank you for being there and being so enthusiastic about it and so specific about it. Krish, you've talked about a field software. Uh, you are in 8th standard, right, Shweta? He's in 8th standard, right?
Yes,
So in
yes.
another, so I can give you an answer. I can give you an answer very well, with the names of the softwares and the learning points and everything. But the point is, all will be in vain when you reach 4 years after your graduation level, because this is a field of, you'll move on. You'll move on. Softwares are just interfaces. You have to understand what you do with the software. Okay, Krish. So don't worry and don't be anxious about the right kind of software and whether you know the right kind of software. You need to know what you need to do with the software. Just for example, now you type with Word in Microsoft platform, or there is a similar platform in your iOS. Now this platform is going to change, but what you do is you actually process text over there. So if you know how to write, how to do a paragraph, where to start with capital letter, where to start with small letter, where to give a space, where to break a paragraph. So that basic algorithm need to be understood. If you know that, softwares will come and softwares will go. This is a field of obsolescence, my dear. So if I say that you learn XYZ software today and learn it very well and learn it very hard, I'm sorry, after 4 years, it's you only who will point your finger towards me, because what I've told you is redundant by this time. So don't be anxious about any particular software. Try to understand what is being done with the software. Are you doing drawing? Are you doing illustration? Or are you trying to run a machine? Or are you trying to make a design? Or are you trying to input any other or doing some kind of calculation? So that function, you should know what you want to get done by the software. Softwares, as and when they come, you will be able to pick up. Don't worry about that. There are a lot of software training skills, relevant software and IT training skills are being given to the students in all fashion designing courses all over the world. So you'll get enough time to pick them up. You don't need to come with something special.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bakshi. And on that note, I would like to inform our audience that we are opening the live Q&A, and you will see a notification pop up on your screen and you all can type in your questions. And while our audience sends in their questions, sir, there was one very common question that came in from the students, which was that how can they improve their drawing skills? A lot of them have asked these questions about improving the drawing and sketching skills. So can you please throw some light on that?
Well, they caught me wrong, I must say, Shweta, at this point, because though I come from an IFT, but I am basically having a background in technology, and I myself is not a very good uh, sketching and drawing skills are workable. What I would say is that they are they're already practicing their drawing, probably with their drawing teachers in their schools. There are very good teachers available around where special attention is given on drawing and sketching activity. They can pick up those. There are a lot of informative videos and materials that are available online. They can go into that also. The important part is that practice. Whosoever tells you to do a thing, they need to practice. First of all, while practicing, they will get to understand what is right and what is wrong. And next thing, by practice, they will find out the confidence. Because ultimately, this drawing skill is going to become a kind of life skill for them by which they will present themselves. In design, the mode of communication is not always language. It's a field of visual communication. So you pick up your drawing in such a manner so that you should get to examine yourself, test yourself, that what you are trying to draw, are you being able to draw it? Is it being communicated? If you want to draw a tree, is it getting the shape of a tree? It is getting that authentic shape of a tree. If you are trying to bring variety in the tree of summer and the tree of winter, can you do that? So that's how you have to challenge yourself and keep on practicing. Inputs you can get from your drawing teachers. They are the best. They are the best for you at this moment, in your school or in your drawing classes or online. But it has to be a self-evaluated process. You have to get to understand that what you are trying to express, are you being able to express with your drawing? That's the yardstick. No external yardstick required. That's internal yardstick will tell you what you are doing. That's all I have to say at this moment.
Right, Dr. Bakshi. So our questions are pouring in, and Korean has asked, how to choose which college or university to attend? How can one make the choice? I think she's asking that.
It's at times it's difficult. I do understand, uh, and every student faces this dilemma. But thankfully, in today's world, things are very quantitative. A lot of specific quantitative informations are available. Your field of journalism is helping out students with pertinent informations a lot. So I'll tell Shweta to look for different reviews. They can talk to the alumni of different institutes. Now, with the advent of social media, you can actually expand your reach beyond your friends and relatives to find out the news from the horse's mouth, you can say. So you can reach out to the alumni. You can talk to the industry people who will tell you that who are the most sought afters or where they think are the learning processes most honored or most valued by the industry. So there are different areas from where this intelligence can be gathered at this moment. And with the advent of information technology and the media being doing such a fantastic kind of researches on education, I think it's not that a tough decision at this moment.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bakshi. Now, the next question is again something that a lot of people have actually asked. I guess a lot of our students want to start their own brands, and they want your advice on how can they start their own brand.
Well, I don't know who are asking questions. Already they have completed their designing courses. Already they are into this fashion designing profession, or they are dreaming to start their own brands. I have already said that definitely entrepreneurship is one of the biggest avenues of professional expertise or professional career path for fashion design students and fashion design professionals. So now, in a nutshell, to question how to, I have said that you have to start as a professional at the very beginning, to work with organizations, to work on projects as independent designers and freelancers, or preferably spending some time in a good manufacturing and designing organization in your respective interest of designing. That valuable experience will tell you what is what, how the business is run, how the things are done. and how to reach out to people with your designing and how to solve issues of customers and clients. And after that, you should take steps like becoming an independent designer, then start off taking independent projects as freelancers. That will establish your credibility in the market, and that will help you out in turn gathering the necessary resources to set up your own brand, and then you will know what to do. So that recognition, that faith of the market to invest in you has to come by your initial career path, the initial days of your career, how you have spent them, and what you have achieved during that time. That would give faith to the investors in you, and they will follow suit.
Thank you, sir. Anurupa Shaha asks, is doing a master's degree in the fashion field absolutely necessary?
It depends. It depends. Masters will. There are certain post-graduation courses which kind of opens up your field, generalize the field of design in front of you. For example, in case of design schools, you will be getting a kind of specialized course in accessory design, or say apparel design, or say leather design, or say footwear design, something like that, or knitwear design like that. But when you do post-graduation, like if you get a post-graduation in NIFT or in IIT, it will rather open up your ambit. Now you will become a wide band with a designer of lot of products, a products of generalized designer of a lot of products and bandwidths. So your inputs will go into product designing, not necessarily in fashion, but in consumer products, engineering products, lifestyle products as well. Even you will be surprised to know that an alumni of NIFT and further, and the postgraduate alumni of FIT is now part of the Apollo, I think the Apollo 18 mission, which is going to go for moon very soon by NASA, sent by NASA, and she is a part of that particular team, and she's in that team from the capacity of being a designer. Definitely must be there having some role. I'm not quite sure about the brief. So the point is, if you want to go for masters, it may open up your field. If it may open up your ambit of your expertise, where you can apply your expertise to a larger area, rather than confined into a particular avenue of design, which is particularly product oriented or particular service oriented. So that's a big scope for you if you join masters after you complete your undergraduate courses.
So the next question, you have mentioned about this when you were delivering your session, but I'll just repeat this. Maybe our audience would like to hear this again. How will this profession grow in the near future? So basically, what is the future of fashion design, and the pros and cons of being a fashion designer?
Well, I don't see any particular reason for saying that this particular area will be going up too fast or going down, or these. It is the way it is. It is going to remain there. It is going to remain there because it is a way of living. If you live in the world of analog era, it was important. Now you are living in a digital era, it is important. You are going to live in the artificial intelligence era, it will still remain important. Because being in fashion means being among the chosen ones, being at the top of the triangle, having followers and having into the trend. So that it is coming from within human psychology, and that particular human psychology is going to stay forever. If it is going to stay, then this craving for fashion will also stay. That's what I get to see for now. So definitely the professionals or the creative people who are going to address these needs of human being will also find work and profession in future. Pros and cons, well, to say it's a very a difficult question at this moment to say, because it's an amount of point of view, how you look at things. I can say something which is negative in my point of view at this moment, but it may be a positive side from others. So I would rather try to bypass this question, saying that there are obvious hardships, there are obvious heartbreaks, obvious hardships in every profession that is there in this particular profession also. So, and it doesn't always have to be matching with your expectations. So the cons may be at times a mismatch of the reality and the expectation, and that's not particular to fashion designing. That can be in any field. Other than that, at this particular moment, I cannot find out anything which is negative or the con side or the disadvantageous side of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bakshi, for sharing your insights with us. I'm sure our audience has been able to gain some valuable information and knowledge today about fashion designing as a career. And I would like to thank all of you for attending this webinar. It's 12 o'clock and almost time to close the webinar. And we hope that this session has helped you all to get a perspective of pursuing a career in fashion design. We will be covering a wide range of career paths in the time to come in this webinar series, which we call How to Be series. So please stay tuned and look out for announcements on the Telegraph-Edugraph for different career path related webinars. You can visit us telegraphindia.com and click on Edugraph to stay updated on educational news and events. Once again, Dr. Bakshi, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us today. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.